everyone. We've got 6 o'clock, so go ahead and call this special board meeting to order. We're here to, as a board, hear the concerns of parents, students. There will be no comments this evening on personnel items. But before we get started here, call the roll. Mr. Moore, would you please call the roll?
Okay, Daniel Gray.
Here.
Ava Coleman.
Present.
Jim Moore here. Ron McDaniel. Dina Tony.
Here.
Lauren Martin.
Here.
Laura Walker.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. If you all will join me as I stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge.
Show me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we're going to open it up with a few comments. I've asked Dr. Owa to start us off this evening.
Good evening, board. Good evening, audience. First of all, and I sent this email recently this week. On behalf of myself and our team, we do understand that there were a lot of concerns about the timeline of notification. I understand that. I understand the concerns, and we have started to make adjustments. Can you hear me now? Adjustments to that based upon that. I want to be clear that it was not to hide any information from any of our parents. When we started this process, when we were notified October 16th, we immediately wanted to address the parents, meet with the parents who had students who were directly impacted based on the information we were given. And then the investigation process started. Then we wanted to make sure we were working with the Pulaski County Sheriff Department and ensuring their investigation. We were being compliant with their investigation as well as the Department of Human Services. And that nothing that we did impeded that investigation. We continue to talk back and forth at our district office when and how we should communicate with families as a whole. It was not to not tell you, not to share any information, but also to make sure that we were adhering to the safety and the FERPA laws that we had to follow as far as with our young people, but as well as protecting the families that we were meeting with, as well as the personnel issues. And so I wanted to be clear on why we waited to share that. I do understand and completely, sincerely understand the concern about the timeline. And we have adjusted that and ensured that we will not take that long, take that length of time to notify our parents moving forward. When we share information, we will be clear that the information is limited and that we will continue to update our families as the information is given to us. But we want you all to understand, and all of our parents in the district, that when we start sharing that updated communication plan, that our communication plan, we won't have all the information at that time. But we do understand that our parents want to be notified at the very beginning, and that's our commitment. When we looked at the evidence and the situation that was taking place, a lot of the incident, in fact, all of the incidents happened in the cafeteria. And as my letter shared with you, that's the reason why we enhanced the administrative presence, the monitoring of our CSSO, of what was happening in the cafeteria. And I also want to be clear that our teachers in the hallway, in the classrooms, our staff members were always being proactive. And that's the reason, one of the reasons, if not the main reason, we found out about this issue so that we could address it as soon as we could when we found out about it. And they continue to do that. We also took measures of retraining our staff members so that they understand that no matter if the situation is suspicious, if they're concerned, we report it and then let our Department of Human Services partners investigate it from that point forward. And we report it immediately, and we also make sure that Pulaski County Sheriff Department, since they have the jurisdiction here in this area, that they also are notified as soon as possible. We have, just to also update you with additional information, I've been in contact with, I've received some information from parents about more detailed background checks. All of our background checks from the state level, federal level, and the child maltreatment level all come through the State Department of Education. But because of the concerns we received from our parents, I did reach out to them to see, even if these are non-convicted issues, how can we find out more about it? Find more information about previous situations that occurred that were not convictions. And I received an answer today, and it was because, and the answer was that based on confidentiality, they still had to follow the state, federal, and child maltreatment process, but the applicant could divulge, but the State Department could not share any more information with us. What we get, if the state background check clears, if the federal background check clears, if the child maltreatment registry check cleared, we get an approved employability record so that they tell us that we can move forward with the employment. If something comes up on one of those checks, child maltreatment, federal or state, then we receive immediate notification. Either I get it through email, and I also get it through official certified mail that this particular person is not employable in any district. And so those are the informations that we received from them. I also reached out to our educational cooperative and the crisis center for our State Department. They're going to provide additional counselors and therapists. Our care, our partner, health center partner, will provide therapists for our scholars as well as our staff members as we move through this situation. So I wanted to bring that to your attention and to provide that oversight for you at this time.
Thanks, sir. All right, and we also have with us this evening our attorney, Mr. Scott Richardson, and we've asked him to kind of give some background rules that we need to follow as far as communication and detailed investigations.
Certainly, it's good to see everybody here. Generally, our guidance to districts, and this is most lawyers who work with education and work with school districts, so be very careful in your comments when there's a personnel matter, because the personnel, the staff will have privacy rights that you need to respect. So we generally don't disclose anything that is part of an ongoing personnel issue or things that, in the terms of the Freedom of Information Act, would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. So the district has to respect those things. In a situation like this, where there is criminal charges pending, there's a DHS investigation, the sheriff's office has investigated, the prosecutor's office may also be looking at the matter. We want to be careful that no public comments impact or impede those investigations, or if there's a prosecution later on, we don't want to make any comments that could cause a problem in that prosecution later on. In addition, in a situation like this where there are students involved, Dr. Owa mentioned FERPA, which is an acronym for the Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And it provides that for all of you who have students in school, the district cannot release information about your children that they hold, except under very specific circumstances. So we can't release video that shows students just out to the public. We have to be very careful about student records or any statements that we may have about individual students. We can't release personally identifiable information about students. And that includes a public comment. So the district has to be very careful with all of those things. Primarily, those are all meant to support the students and to be careful about everyone's rights who are involved in the event. That would also cover this meeting tonight and any comments that board officers may want to offer at some point, they would have to be mindful of all those laws and what the effect their words might have on the things that are coming down the road.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So now we're going to open up the floor for public comments. This is a designated time for community members to share their thoughts on this matter before the board. We welcome and appreciate your input and ask you to speak respectfully and professionally. Please refrain from making statements about individual students or district staff members. The board only considers such matters upon recommendation from the superintendent. Your comments will be recorded for the official minutes. Excuse me. While we value your perspectives, please note that the opinions shared during public comment do not necessarily reflect the views of the board. Public comment is for input, not debate. If there's a reason for some brief factual clarification, we may offer that, but it's not a back and forth, it is public comment. And your time limit will be 3 minutes. We will have a timer, and I'll ask you to respect that time. We do have quite a few signed up to speak. So I'll call you to the microphone. If you'll state your name, and then once you state your name, your time will begin. Okay, so first up, I've got Elizabeth Sisk.
I think you need to be very close.
Yeah. Can y'all in the back here, I know that air handler is pretty loud. Let me turn it up. Go ahead and talk a little bit. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
No?
Okay. Okay, my name is Elizabeth Sisk. I am the parent of 2 Biomeda scholars. I'm very concerned with the timeline. I'm also very concerned with the fact that we reviewed 2 weeks of footage. We identified 3 victims in 2 weeks of footage. That leads me to believe that there are more students involved. We have had more students, more parents say that they have filed police reports following us getting a name and being able to show a picture to our children. I spoke to my children on Friday after getting a big email. I didn't get much out of my kids. I talked to my kids again on Monday with a mugshot and said, what can you tell me about Mr. Harold? I got totally different information by being able to show my kids and ask for the name. I'm more concerned that there are more victims out here, and the timeline did not allow those victims to be able to be identified. And I'm worried that we're going to have more kids come out with someone. He worked here for 2 years. We got 2 weeks of footage. It's not enough. That's concerning. I have a little girl. If it had been my child, I would not be able to remain this calm and speak to you all this way. And I know a lot of parents feel that way. There are babies. We trust all of them. The board. We trust our staff. And mind you, I have full faith in our staff. We love our Wyoming staff. We love them. They love our kids. It's important that we give that communication so we have ample time to talk to our own kids and verify that nothing happened to them too. My kids thought Mr. Harold was a wonderful, nice man. But when I got more details about how he was messing with the kids in the lunchroom, it's concerning. Why did nobody say, hey, can you stop touching the kids? Can you change on the kids? Can we go to the office and talk to the principal about what your behavior? I don't know what the process or the policy is for that, obviously. But there's got to be something. There's got to see something, say something. We cannot let our kids be vulnerable. They are vulnerable when they're away from their parents. And we charge staff here to protect them and keep them safe. I know this can happen anywhere. I know people slip through the cracks. I know if you're only checking conviction, people can get lucky in court all day and not get convicted. It happens all the time. But they got arrested for a reason. Are we checking arrest records too?
We will take your input, we'll take some notes, we will have, at the very end, we will try to make some comments and get some clarification.
Thank you very much.
if we don't have the answer or don't know the answer, we will get the answer to you if it's not tonight. All right. Next, I have Kristen St. Clair.
Can you hear me?
And I think it helps if you speak right into the microphone and speak loud for the people in the back. That air handler is really loud back there.
Okay.
I've already asked them. It's controlled somewhere else.
Okay. My name is Kristen St. Clair. I'm the parent of a second grade student, a girl, here at Ivy. The district stated that the delay was to not impede the ongoing investigation. However, the sheriff's department let me know the investigation was officially closed November 3rd, and I confirmed that twice with Detective Singleton. And that y'all were never legally unable to contact parents. And I don't mean all the details. I don't even mean telling me the crime. But a phone call saying an employee has been arrested at the school your child works at, something, anything other than that vague email. That email was an insult. And this contradiction, it suggests a deliberate hiding of what's going on. We have no other option but to believe the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office and to think that you're hiding something. I mean, there's just no way around it. We as parents, we receive phone calls, text messages, emails for every holiday, school event, the school closed for any reason, inclement weather. We got a vague email. I don't check my email 24/7. I work a lot and I work somewhere there's no signal. I didn't get a phone call that made me think, oh, that number, that 241 number, that's the school. I didn't get a text. I get those things for everything. I want to know what the reason was, why I didn't get those alongside the email. And I also want to know why we're keeping it to Viamita, not the entire district. As if the entire district doesn't need just a reminder to look into your policies and your people. We demand more. We demand more than apologies and vague statements. We demand transparent and auditable records of the mandated training, the security protocols, and administrative presence that's been implemented recently. We demand a formal investigation into the decision-making process that resulted in a 50-day delay in notification to parents and for those responsible to be held accountable. That's 50 days. I couldn't ask my second grade white daughter if she had any issue with him, which she didn't. And let's all be thankful for that. But she immediately, before I pulled out of the parking lot the day that I took her out of school, after finding out, told me exactly who the victim was. 2 months, she remembers. In 2 months, they'll still remember. Why did they have to suffer in silence for 50 days? There are more victims. The investigation isn't ongoing. It's just not. I talked to Detective Singleton. Anything that's being investigated is new, based on new reports. The reports that came after a social media post alerted parents that a little girl was sexually assaulted in their school. Imagine if that was your situation. Imagine if you're standing on my side, just begging to be heard, and you keep getting vague emails. This is a failure at a district level. Our administrators fail our children, our parents, Viamita faculty and staff, the victims, and their support systems. The victims couldn't just walk around it and talk about it, and you made sure of that.
Next, I've got Jessica Walker Cox. Where did I? Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Jessica, and I'm the parent of the child who was sexually assaulted by a previous employee of the Pulaski School District. I had a lot of this typed out, and I don't even, now that I've heard a couple of things, I don't even think I can go off of this. My biggest concern in all of this that's happened is the fact that I feel like a lot of fingers have been pointed in the wrong direction. In this situation, I've been part of this since day one. On October 17th, I received a phone call from district leaders to let me know that my child had been sexually assaulted by a male employee at her school. Thankfully, the district did act quickly when I requested the video footage, and I was able to see it within 24 hours of requesting it. I was given 3 videos to see that involved my child. Later in the investigation, my daughter and I went to the Child Protection Center in Jacksonville, where we were able to meet our detective, along with a state police officer who had previously came to the school and requested that my child be pulled out of class without any notification as her parent. The only person who felt the need to notify me was the assistant principal. Don't even know if he's allowed to do that, but he, parent to parent, felt that I deserved to know that there was someone here in this building to talk to my child. As I was at the Child Protection Center, I learned from the detective that there were actually 8 videos that involved my child, not only 3. I do understand that the system here at Biomito and the recordings only go back so far, and I understand that there are other areas within the district that can go back further in video recordings. That information should have been made known to us, not through the detective, through the school district. In the November Jacksonville North Pulaski School District Board meeting agenda, the very last page, 172 pages, you gotta go all the way to the end, stated that an employee had been terminated for supervision of students. Custodians are not required to supervise students. They are in this lunchroom to help them pick up their trash, open a Lunchable at the most. They are not in here as a supervisor, okay? The reason this man was fired is because he sexually assaulted my child 8 different times, not because he was supervising these students. He stood at this lunch table behind her seat every single day and waited for her to sit down so that he could put his hands on her. That should have been the reason he was terminated. I have a lot more to say, and I understand that we only have so much time, but what I want anyone to hear out of this meeting is the fact that the people responsible for this are not the people who have been pushed out of this building. The people responsible for this are the people who allowed this man to ever be hired. When I went to see the video footage, I was given a police report that had every minor's name in it, not redacted. My child included. My child's name had been released, not just to me, okay? So as we go forward with this, I just want to be clear. The people responsible for this are the people who allowed him to stay on this staff, okay? This has nothing to do with the people who were in this building. The person who gave me a police report with minor names in it is also at fault in this, okay? And obviously the predator himself. So at this moment, I just want it to be known that there's a lot of information that is still to uncover, and I think that it should not be acted on quickly, and any termination or forced resignation should happen until all of the details come out.
Mr. Cox, Nathan Cox.
Good evening. My name is Nathan Collins, and I am the father of the sexually assaulted. Can you hear me now?
Can you raise it?
I'll pin down for you right here. Is that good? Okay. My name is Nathan Cox, and I'm the father of the sexually assaulted. Good evening, members of the board, staff, and community. Thank you for this opportunity to speak here today. I'm here today because this community has been deeply shaken by the recent case of sexual assault. First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers are with all the other students and families affected. No child should ever be harmed in a place that is meant to nurture and protect our kids. Nor should we as parents have to worry about the safety of our children while they're in school and we are at work. While we cannot change what has already happened, we we can take responsibility for preventing anything like this from happening again. To do that, I encourage we must implement more strict and thorough hiring criteria. This includes rigorous background checks, stronger verification of previous employment, deeper reference evaluations, and enhanced screening protocols for behavioral red flags. I know y'all touched on this before we started talking. However, stronger hiring practices alone are not enough. Recent events and security footage have also highlighted concerns about insufficient adult presence and awareness during the less structured times of the school day, particularly during lunch. These periods, while seemingly routine, require more supervision. That's just it. Unfortunately, this is not due to the students being too loud or too rowdy, but this is due to the hiring of this particular untrustworthy staff member. I believe increasing staff visibility, improving monitoring protocols, and ensuring clear accountability during these times are necessary steps to create a safer environment for all students. Our schools must ensure the highest standards of safety, professionalism, and accountability. Strengthening both our hiring protocols and our supervision practices is not an administrative burden. It is a vital investment in the trust families place in us. I urge the board to prioritize these changes immediately. The safety of our students must always come before convenience, cost, and tradition. Let's take decisive action so that every family in our community knows their children are safe and protected. Thank you.
You want to go next or you want to go last? Okay. All right. Alex Johnson. Did I get that right?
My name is Alan Johnson. Y'all couldn't hear me? Okay, my name is Alan Johnston. My children went to this school until this year. Last year, one of my special needs children actually started going to the middle school. This individual was around my special needs child at some point in time. More victims will be in the middle school if this was an ongoing thing. I took my kids out of here for various reasons. One including lack of communication, lack of taking initiative and making decisions. Being told that I don't understand my own children. If you're looking for a fault, look at the school. Everybody does that, right? That's not necessarily right. Every teacher is told who their students are. Every parent is told who their teachers are. Custodial staff is often overlooked. We want to know who's around our children at all times. That's teachers, that's custodians, that's lunch ladies, and men. But we can't tell who these people are. We don't see them on a day-to-day basis. Our children do. Nobody tells us who these people are. I, for one, have run a background check on all of my former teachers. I know if they have any kind of criminal history or background. I use an app called Truth Finder. It's great. Something for the school to look into. If a principal or any other member of staff would have looked this person up, I looked him up, and in 30 seconds, I had a complete background of him, including his former criminal history. That is not an oversight. That is negligence.
Tracy Myers. Am I saying that right? N-Y. Who to speak or?
Melissa Reyes. I really honestly do not have too much to add, as Mrs. Sis and Mrs. St. Clair really hit home and covered very well what I do believe to be mine and most everybody I've even seen on social media's concerns. And I do understand your point somewhat, as saying, about the timeline, why things were not released as they were, how we felt, to impeding the investigation. But when we think of it in a sense as parents, and us that have daughters in this school, it could have been impeding finding out and getting support to other possible victims if we don't know to ask our children. And I know that there are so many ways that she gets to us as parents, because I get communication from the schools and the school district for things that have nothing to even do with my children, for certain sporting events or whatever. But this did not come through to me until after I seen it on social media. I received an email probably 30 minutes after I seen the very first thing posted on social media. And when I went to ask my child about this is what concerned me too. How well are we watching people around our children? And I'm not saying I do not trust all the staff. I have had some issues in the past with staff and whether I believe things were done right or wrong, but it's a separate issue. But I feel like this goes even above and beyond that. We trust our children more hours of their waking day with the people in here. And when I find out from my child and say, hey, has anybody ever touched you or made you feel uncomfortable at school? And her very first word was, the janitor with the dark hair? And I said, did he ever do something to you? And she said, not me. He's really, really nice and tries to play around with us. But my friend's scared of him. Now I'm wondering why. Because my daughter doesn't know why. Does her friend's parents know that she's scared of him? If we would have received this news sooner, there might not be other little girls that may be sitting with this information because they're scared to tell. So, like I said, I don't have too much more to add because I do believe that they pretty much drove that home. But just to reiterate that, it's really on my mind.
Thank you. Ms. Teresa Cook.
There's nothing funny about it. I'm glad you think it's funny. I'd like to start out by saying my granddaughter's 8 years old, a third grader at Bayou Meadow, was 6 years old and a first grader 2 years ago when this man was hired. There's no way in a 2-week video look at that you can tell me that there weren't other victims. And if you made a mistake of thinking about the other children, that is on you, and every single one of you on this board need to own it. I don't have time to worry about your personal relationships, business partnerships, or friendships. Principal Lindsay Jones has since resigned, but the problems here go far beyond one administrator. Serious questions remain about hiring practices, delayed reporting. Why this individual was allowed around students after a complaint. Why parents weren't notified immediately. Relationships within district leadership have also created the appearance of conflicts of interest. Whether intended or not, this has damaged public confidence of the board. All of you. Every single one of you. For the following, full transparency about the timeline of events. complete review and overhaul of hiring and background check procedures, mandatory and immediate reporting to both the child abuse hotline and parents whenever allegations involve student safety because he worked at Edwards and ran over and hugged a 5-year-old black child, and y'all want to act like it's only white kids. It's all our kids. I'm standing up here for all of these kids. All of these kids are important. The ones you knew about in 2 measly weeks. So he just didn't do nothing for 2 years, and all of a sudden, just touched these 3 little girls. Shame, 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 shame. You're defending this. Shame, shame, shame. You want to talk crazy to me? And I'm a grandparent. My granddaughter was affected by this. Her friend, Mr. Harold, is a pedophile. And I had to explain that to her and to watch out for her friends because the adults around her were not. And you couldn't even come up with a measly paragraph for my granddaughter's teacher to answer me back when I asked her what's going on. I don't care if I'm hurting your ears. My heart is hurting. I haven't slept for 2 days. Shame on all of you. And this is not over, and I'm going to work hard to make sure this board dismantles. Teresa Cook.
All right, next we've got Shy Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry about this. It's kind of last minute, so I'm going to get this. No, I can hear me. Okay, I can be loud too. Okay, well, my name is Shy Smith. My name is kind of contrary to my personality. I'm a mother of a first grade student here and a 5th grader here at Bayou View. We've been in this district now for almost 3 years. Both of them are girls. There have been instances where I've had to strongly communicate my feelings on a particular subject matter regarding my kids, so I'm no stranger to advocating for children. I'll skip this part because I'm pretty sure we all know why we're here tonight. The report specified that the victims identified so far were white. As a mother of 2 black daughters, I'm still very deeply concerned because predators don't stop at race, and safety should never depend on who or what a child is. What troubles me, just like I'm pretty sure it affects everyone else, just as much as the incident itself, of course, is how long it took for administration to report it. I will first mention that the principal did make me feel welcome when my kids did start school here. I was very uneasy about them starting school here. She always greeted us with a smile, but however, it made me a little bit uneasy seeing how long, of course, it took for the message to get out and how vague the emails were. When someone is seen doing what their employee was doing to these babies, that's not something you wait on. It's not something you handle quietly. That should be reported immediately, and parents should not be the last to know. We trust this school with our babies every single day. That trust was broken, and now we need reassurance that will be rebuilt. So tonight I'm asking the board for these 3 things. Accountability for the delay in reporting the incident. Clear protocols so that any future misconduct is reported immediately without any delays or hesitation. And 3rd, real communication with parents because silence puts children at risk. My daughters deserve safety. All of our children deserve safety. And we need to know that when something happens on this campus, the adults that are present will act fast and appropriately every single time. Also, to the parents of the children and families of the children who were affected by this, my heart is with you. And I just pray that our kids can come to school and feel good about being here. Thank you.
All right, next we've got Lindsey Jones. I'll let you go ahead and speak now. Go. All right, let's go Camille Walmart. Walmart. Sorry if I...
Walmart, it's okay.
Good evening. I'm here tonight as a parent who is disappointed, angry, and honestly scared. What happened at Bayou Mito isn't just an incident. It's a betrayal of trust. The way the district handled this has left families like mine wondering if our kids are truly safe in your care. So tonight, we want clear answers. What are you doing to find out if other children were harmed before October 6th? What's the plan if something like this happens again? And a clear plan, exactly step by step, what is to happen if this were to happen again? Who made the decision to keep parents in the dark? Why? And what is being done about that? Why did Ms. Jones resign? Was it or was it not directly related to this incident? What exactly, or excuse me, when exactly was he removed from the building? Because it's very unclear. And is the district planning to expand surveillance storage so more footage is available for review when it matters? This should have been handled differently. The moment the teacher reported, parents should have been notified. The moment the principal saw that photo, parents should have been notified. The moment the arrest took place, parents should have been notified. Every step of the way, we should have been kept in the loop. Instead, we got silence, we got a vague email months after the incident, we got secrecy, and now the trust between parents and the district is broken. We are not here for spin, we're not here for vague statements, we are here for answers, accountability, and a commitment that this will never happen again. Thank you.
Go ahead and ask for an answer to one of those questions of when the custodian was removed from the building.
Yes, he was removed. He was notified October 16th to report first thing to the office, and he was put on administrative leave October 17th, following the recommendation for termination that was presented to the board in the November board meeting.
Administration found out about it on the 16th after hours. He was never back in the school after that, correct?
That's correct. He was paid, he was placed.
We're trying to answer that
That's
question. All right, we're gonna, this is why we don't go back and forth, but finish this answer.
He was placed on paid administrative leave pending the recommendation for termination, and he was terminated November 3rd, which ended his pay.
Thank you. All right, next we've got Abigail Troyer.
Sexually assaulted on school property. Not here, not in this district, not by a staff member, but on property nonetheless, by a classmate I considered a friend. In the middle of classes under the table and in the hallway when no one was around. I know what kind of hindrance those experiences can put on a student's ability to learn and focus on school. When it finally got brought to the attention of the SRO in the building, it still wasn't handled well. Now, I could have and probably should have said something to a trusted adult sooner. But I was embarrassed, as many kids, especially younger kids, are. However, when when a friend brought it to the attention of the staff and it was time for me to make a statement, the school didn't really do anything. Not as much as they could have. The kid who did it to me wasn't even so much as talked to about it. I say all of this to point out that I know firsthand how frustrating and demeaning it can be when a school doesn't handle these types of situations properly and to the best of their abilities. As a result, I changed high schools to an alternative school that put less pressure on me and gave me a chance to work on my mental health as well as work towards my degree, since the school I was assaulted at wouldn't even take action to keep the student who hurt me out of my classes. And I was close, against all odds. By the end of junior year, I was on track to graduate within the first month of being senior with an honors degree. But then some unfortunate events occurred in my family, causing me to have to move. When I moved, none of the credits I had earned at the alternative school I attended were being accepted by the schools here. I'm almost 20 and I still haven't graduated. Had the schools handled the situation better and fixed my schedule to not have aligning classes with that student, which I feel is the bare minimum, I wouldn't have had to change schools and my credits would have transferred. It is so important for schools to handle tough and inappropriate situations in ways that best support the students and families involved for so many reasons. When all of this happened to me, I was a teenager. These elementary kids are often too young to even understand what's happening. They don't understand that it shouldn't be happening. They don't understand that they need to tell their parents or trust adults. They just feel that uncomfortable feeling but don't say anything because they are taught to trust and listen to the staff and teachers at their school. I can't imagine what those poor kids went through and will continue to go through emotionally while trying to understand what happened. And this doesn't just apply to little girls. We need to protect all of our children regardless of race or gender. I hope that you as a school and district learn from this and God forbid anything like this ever happen again and be handled properly. Before I'm finished, I would like to thank the staff member who reported the offender. Had you not done that, who knows how much longer it would have gone on for. I hope you as a school will do better moving forward.
Next, I've got Carol Williams.
Hello, good evening. I would first like to say that I pay a lot of taxes, and I don't understand why that's not enough to keep those videos running and keep those videos for at least a year. I mean, even 7-Eleven does that. And I have children that are in their 40s that went to school at Iowita. Of course, it was down the road, but in the cafeteria, they always had an aide or two, always out there with those kids. And of course, it was to keep them in line, but it was also to keep them safe. And here, my granddaughter tells me that they give them the lunch, and then they leave and they go have their lunch in their room. And popcorn, of course, she's special needs, and she can't clearly tell me everything, but you do know that it wasn't just 7-year-olds. You do know that this was kindergartners too. If you don't know that, you need to find out, because I already have. And when he targets special needs kids, there's an issue. And she should be protected. And it isn't just that incident. Every day she's being harassed by a little boy in her class. She doesn't want him bothering her, but she doesn't know how to stop it because she thinks she'll be in trouble if she tells on him, because she doesn't know any better. And what do you do? I mean, I've bugged the teacher so many times that I don't know. I don't want to keep bugging her. I don't want to be a pain. But I have full custody of my 2 granddaughters. One's in pre-K, one's in kindergarten. They both go here, and there's more issues. But how about using some of that tax money to get these videos going at least?
Next, I have Laura Abbott. Well, are there any more sheets over there with any names on? Okay, thank you.
My name is Laura Abbott, and I'm a victims' rights ambassador for victims across the state of Arkansas. I am a homegrown Bahamian. I went here 50 years ago, 55, I think the 6th grade was 1976. First, I'm sorry for the reason that we're all here. My heart goes and my prayer goes out to the parents and the classmates, and the school board, the superintendent, the administrators, and this community. There are beautiful things that can come out of ashes. Sandy Hook, when they lost their children to the shooting, they gathered together and have a nonprofit that's free to help people. And if anyone's going to change this state, it's going to be this community over this incident. Dr. Ola, are you familiar with Title IX? Dr. Ola, on your website, do you have any resources for these parents that deal with child abuse or victims' rights information? People brought up great information here. Those names should have been redacted everywhere. No leak of a video with people's names should have ever happened. There's a protocol in the state for teachers to call the hotline. That's what we are told to do. They changed the name of the hotline to 1-800-SAVE-A-CHILD or 8844. We're not told to call the local police department. So we need to find who is going to be the steady point of contact. These parents brought up great information about how they want to be contacted. We no longer need to fear if we're going to lose $7,000 and people are going to leave our school districts. We need to partner with all these people, and you need to have stakeholder meetings. And there's only one person to blame for why we're here, and he's sitting in a jail. We don't need to blame an administrator. We don't need to blame a teacher. We don't need to blame the fact there was a drop in the ball. All of us are victims of this man. And so I ask this community that I am proud I was raised in to join together, to bring yourselves together, to put whatever personal businesses, to take any kind of conspiracy theory off the table and meet together so you can change not only Bimeda, but this state, because our children are abused too often in the state of Arkansas. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. I do have one more name. Miranda Tomer.
Hi, I'm Miranda Toman. I work in the district, but my kids, I picked Bimeda specifically. I have very hard trust issues when it comes to people that deal with my children. They have yet to have a sleepover, and it's not because I haven't met people I don't trust, it's just none of my mom group, we will hang out till 1 o'clock when the kids get tired, and then we go home. But I'll be honest, my kids have been here since pre-K. We started in the last year of the old school. I'm sorry, I'm really loud, so I'm echoing.
Not you.
So, I actually had no problem with how things were handled. There was a couple things that some parents had brought up that I agree. I mean, we could have done a few things. However, my daughter's in kindergarten. I was sexually assaulted when I was in high school. I was prepared. And I hate to say that, I was actually prepared. If someone touches you, this is what you do. This is how you handle it. If you're around an administrator, a teacher, around somebody, this is how you handle it. I wasn't assaulted in the school. I was assaulted somewhere else. No, it wasn't a family member. I was out in public, and it happened to me. Everybody there lied, and I had to look at their faces for years while they still worked at this location. Okay, it's just how it is. All right, I had no one there except for my mom to advocate for me. My teachers didn't know, and for me that sucked because I ended up butting heads with my teachers. So if there's a kid that's on here that was sexually assaulted, then I hate to say, if the parents are okay with it for at least the next year or two, the next teacher might need to know. However, I'm trying to teach my daughter now, if someone touches you and you feel funny, then you say something. However, she's 5, and we're having to teach her what's the difference between your uncle hugging you or your best friend hugging you, and you're itty bitty, and she's teeny tiny little thing, and everybody else is really big. So if she really feels a strange way about it, then yes, say something, but she does misinterpret a lot. How things were handled here, because I've been a victim, the first thing that I noticed that happened on Facebook when that Freedoms of Information Act happened, and that police report was now public knowledge and was blasted on Facebook, the most thing that happened was
everybody started asking, what's going on? What's happening? My first question to my children weren't even about this man. I was more concerned with why was my admin removed? Why wasn't she there? Because I've talked to Lindsay. Every time I have a problem, I talk to Lindsay or I hate to call y'all by y'all's first name, but I mess up y'all's last names. I talk to Mr. Brandon and I'm like, hey, this is my concern. And they'll be like, we'll look into it. It's not a big deal. We'll look into it. Every single time. They never, yes, sometimes, okay, I work in the district, I'm at the high school. If y'all ever try to talk to us around midterms or the end of a quarter, we ain't answering emails. I love y'all, but we ain't doing it. You have to come up here in person. So there are days where I had to tell my school, hey, I'm going to be late. And I'd come up here and I'd wait until they were done. Their presents were very known. And all I asked my kids were, because I didn't want them to start fearing the people left in this building. I asked, when was the last time you saw Miss Jones? And my son looked and he goes, you know what, Mommy, I haven't seen her in a minute, and she's normally always in the hallway smiling at me. Every day. And I was like, okay, well, what have you saying Mr. Weems? And they're like, that's not how you say his name. Again, I get corrected all the time. They are 7. He's in 1st grade. And he is the class snitch. So if your son's in my class, I apologize. You know my face because, yeah, I've been to all the things. He's a class snitch. And he will tell me, oh, so-and-so's hitting this person. So-and-so's jumping on this kid. I'm not upset about it. But as a victim, parents immediately went, well, what if there's more victims? That's true. Okay, I do work in the district, so I know a little more information about the security cameras than everybody else. I know we store them off-site. I don't know what to extent. I'll be honest, I don't know that part. But a parent could coach a kid to say this person hurt you. And I had that happen a lot. In my school, I watched good friends, their moms didn't like them, had their girlfriends lie on their names. I'm not saying anybody in this building would do that because I trust everybody here and I know my time's up. Phi Beta is built different. And I know we all are very opinionated. And we do like full transparency. But I do want to say one thing because I know everybody's pointing fingers. You guys have done a great job. Hindsight's a lot. And if you've seen my Facebook post, that's one thing. Hindsight's a lot. We can say a lot of what ifs. What if we had done it this way? Okay, but from my perspective, from going through that, from having classmates that went through it too, I actually don't mind how things were handled. The vague message on Friday did kind of scare me because I was like, what's going on? But at the same time, I understand it. So I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you. And Miss Lindsay,
Time.
we love you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that was the last person signed up to speak besides Miss, did you sign up, ma'am?
Oh, I don't. Sorry, I'm the last.
All right.
Vanessa Chavez.
Here, let me ask you to sign. Go ahead and state your name. I can't read your last name.
It's Vanessa Chavez. I was short, I told it down, sorry.
Oh, you're good. I'm Vanessa Shaughnessy. Sorry, I wasn't planning on coming up here. But, so my daughter is one of the 3. And, well, thank you for informing me as much as you could about everything. The only major question that I've had, and it's been ingrained in my head for the last 2 months, is the previous girls. There were multiple videos, and I'm assuming my daughter was the last one before it was caught. So the picture, I don't know if it was of my daughter or if it was the other 2. However, my daughter is very lovable and friendly, and everybody just wants to be around her. And I know that draws attention.
unwanted attention. But if those other two girls are in 2 different classes versus mine, so they're all in different classes, where were the teachers or anybody that worked in this school, where were they when these little girls were being touched by this man? I don't think there's enough accountability, as they've mentioned. A lot of people have mentioned in this room. I don't want to say people should lose their jobs. However, I don't know what other options there are at this point. My daughter, I'm grateful it wasn't as severe as I've heard from the other 2. And I don't like to be the person that sits there and says, yeah, I've been sexually assaulted, but I have. I've gone through the court process and everything. And for my 7-year-old to be assaulted 3 months of being in Jacksonville for PCS reasons, and this is what I gotta fucking deal with. So the only question I have is why was there not enough people paying attention to the children? It's a 30-minute lunch for each class. Why was there not anybody paying attention? Like, why did not a teacher see a grown man standing behind them, touching them? It doesn't make sense. And why didn't anybody step in and say, stop touching the kid? What do you do? Now, I know this guy got arrested. He got released the next day. Can't really do anything about it. There wasn't a lot. Just some video footage of 12 days. I don't know if the one video was strictly the one video of my daughter being touched. I don't know. But 8 and 3, that's ridiculous in 12 days. So please get better camera systems.
Thank you. Can we get a point of clarification on the storage capacity of the cameras? Why it's 10 days, or did it hold them? Do you want to touch on that, or can you?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
Each school has individual servers depending on the number of cameras that are on that server. So it depends on how many cameras are attached to that server. So like in the high school, there's four different servers. So and on one server there may be 30 cameras, another server there may be 90 cameras. So that limits, if the one that has 90 cameras on it, that limits the available space for storage. Here at Viamito, we have one server. There's only one server in the building, and we have 90 cameras. So that limits our storage capacity to approximately, at Viamito, it's about 20.
So $1 million.
All right, I'm just asking for a point of clarification and information. Please. I just asked for clarification, and we'll take the input, and we'll make some discussion and decisions, but let Mr. Olin speak.
I understand. I wish I stand from what I've talked to. The longest storage is capable is probably 90 days. And the only people in the state right now that store video for 90 days of marijuana, which they are required by state to do that. We try. We ask for 30 days when we put the camera systems in. We ask for 30 days, but when we add to the camera system, we add to the service, and we'll come back after we put the server in. We'll say we'll realize that we needed more cameras here, so we added cameras, and that deleted 30 days down because of the number of cameras we added. This building has 9 cameras. That's a lot of cameras for a school this size. Every classroom in this district has a camera. So you can imagine, I don't know what our total camera count is, but just imagine every classroom in the school district has a camera. So that's a lot of storage.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that clarification. I'll probably be asking you for some more. All right, next we've got Ms. Just, that's what I think. Lindsay, I think you're up.
I don't know if this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to the parents because I've not been allowed to talk. In fact, I was told that I could not speak to parents, students, staff members until decisions were made. I believe decisions have all been made, so I think I'm good. All's good. I want to apologize to all of the parents out here. I want to apologize to every single person who's not heard my voice. I want to apologize to your students whose faces I miss tremendously. I miss every one of your babies. I miss seeing you guys. I miss getting to interact with your kids every day. I'm sorry. I'm human, and if there's things that I could have done differently, I will accept responsibility for those things. And I will continue to improve myself, constantly reflecting and constantly doing all of the things that I can do. I've been in Jacksonville for a very long time. I chose Jacksonville North Pulaski School District as the district that I wanted to work in. I had options, I had other places to go. I chose to be here. I apologize to my staff that you guys are being treated as if you're not professionals, because guys, this staff is amazing. You're not going to find it other. These men and women over here, they love your kids. When you bring your kids into this building, and I wish I could still stand up here and say that I was able to come into this building and love on your kids. But the goal that I've always had is that wherever my child went to school, wherever I was an administrator, I needed those classrooms to be as good for your children as they are and were for my children. My child went to school at Bayamida Elementary School. My child was here until he graduated 5th grade. These people are top-notch. They didn't need a refresher in mandated reporting because they knew what they were doing from the get-go.
Why wasn't it time
Ms. Cook, I would love to talk to you. I will answer your questions. I don't think they're going to give me the time, but I would love to sit down. I will buy you lunch, and I will answer your questions.
I can buy my own lunch, but thank you.
All right,
I'll let you do that, but I would love
Ms.
to.
Jones.
So,
No, ma'am.
so I want to apologize.
I'm just trying to keep this dialogue. I'm going to let her speak. I'm just trying to keep the crowd from talking back and forth to Ms. Jones. Ms. Jones, please address the crowd.
I'm sorry for the lies that you've been told by this school district. Lots of questions have been asked tonight. I don't know why you were not told until December 5th. I suspect, but I don't know. I suspect the reason that you were not told until December 5th with a vague email was most likely because on December 1st, I was given an ultimatum and 2 choices. And I was given until December 8th to make that decision. Yes, I chose resignation. No, neither of those options had anything to do with what you're here for tonight. those reasons had anything to do with a single child or anything that happened between a child or staff member at this building. The reasons were because I was told that I'm unprofessional and that I was unprofessional to my direct supervisor. There's a lot more to that story. A whole lot more to that story that I've not been allowed to share. But the answer to your question is, was my ultimatum based upon this situation? No, it was not. Also, I want you to know that there's audio conversations, there's transcripts to prove that if you're unsure or if you don't believe the things that I'm saying. But what I want you guys to know is that I love you. I miss you. I miss your kids. Yes, I was given an option of a termination that would go before this board or resignation. I chose resignation effective June 30th, 2026. I am currently on admin leave. I was placed on admin leave by representatives up here. That occurred on Monday, December 1st. I was told, and it is in the audio, that I could not speak to teachers, could not tell them why I wasn't coming back, that I could not speak to parents, that I could not speak to you guys and tell you guys why I wasn't coming back, that I could not speak to children. In addition, I was told that the person who put me on admin leave would be speaking to nobody because it was a personnel issue. My staff was told this, I'm sorry, I know you're not my staff, but I still love you and I claim you all. They were all told by my supervisor, former supervisor, that y'all would not be told anything. I suspect that the reason on October 5th, a very vague email went out regarding this situation was to make it look as if I was the person responsible. I don't have proof, but I suspect that that has a lot to do with it. I suspect that after the board meeting on Monday, December 8th, when Ms. Cook spoke, thank you for speaking, that perhaps things did not go as planned, and then perhaps we needed to make another vague statement to clarify things, to make ourselves look a little less guilty. I don't have proof, but I want you guys to know I miss your babies. Tell them that I love them. I miss every one of your faces. Staff, students, let me address the cafeteria issue. Teachers have to have a lunch. It's required during the daytime. The only way that, I mean, obviously required, we want to give them a lunch. I'm sorry, that came off very poorly. Teachers are not in the cafeteria at lunch. All of our lunch monitors were cut due to budgetary constraints, not a choice of any of the buildings. The building administrators did not get to make those choices. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the legislators, not the district.
All right, Ms. Jones.
So,
please wrap it up.
he will let me wrap it up, so I'm going to wrap it up. So, you'll have to ask.
Keep talking.
Why did you not mandate a force?
Calm down.
Let her finish. Why is there no evidence of the mandated recording in the system?
So, again, love you guys. Apologize. I'll be glad to answer questions if you have any more questions. But the reason that there were not, that's one of the reasons. Now, I do want to say, we were proactive. We had some concerns with lunch monitors in the past. The staff here, myself, we were proactive. It was very hands-on during lunchtime. I was in the cafeteria. Mr. Weems was in the cafeteria. Multiple different staff members. If you didn't have a class, you were in the cafeteria. With the exception of security, because I was told he could not be in the cafeteria. So, with the exception, also office staff. Was also told office staff could not help. So we rearranged the cafeteria monitoring schedule multiple times, every time someone else was pulled from us, to ensure that your students were safe and protected. I do apologize to you guys because I was the leader of this building. And I do take full responsibility for all of the things that happen, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. However, there are things that my hands were tied on. And I do apologize to you guys for anything that we may have missed and anything that we may have done to make you feel uncomfortable. But I love you and I miss you. And I thank you for being here and allowing me to speak.
All right. That is everyone that's signed up to speak. Closing comments. Any board member would like to speak? Ms. Coleman?
I was a parent before I was a board member. Can you hear me now? I was a parent before I was a board member. Born and raised in Jacksonville, have experience on both sides, being a parent, being a board member, still got kids in the district. So I understand your pain. Difficult decisions had to be made. Some things we just could not share. We just could not share. And when you're not in those roles, some of those things you do not understand, but please know from the bottom of our heart, we care about our kids. A mistake was made. We should have notified everybody earlier. We learned from our mistakes. We will definitely do better. Please give us a chance to grow your trust again to continue to build our district.
Maybe when y'all get better at actually communicating with your parents that you want people to have.
Ms. Coleman.
How you gonna trust somebody who's going to do it? Y'all need to be safe. Accountability. Why is he laughing?
All right. I want to echo Ms. Laura's words. Victims advocate.
You both have made faces at everybody, every parent who got up here tonight. The girl that said she was sexually assaulted, regardless of your staff members or not, y'all both made sour ass fucking faces. Yeah, I have no idea.
If you'd like to
Yeah.
speak, thank you.
I don't care. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say after John. I'm gonna come and answer.
So I just want to reiterate what Ms. Laura said, victims advocate. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for growth, and obviously some communication could be much better, and we will definitely learn from it, and we will definitely review policies, hiring policies. I think Dr. O has already reached out to members of the state level on improving that, and we as a board will continue to review those policies. And I think the fact that we showed up here tonight and called this meeting at the request, we care about our kids' safety and security is first. Kids can't learn if they're not safe, right? So a lot of other stuff going on. As Ms. Jones said, she didn't resign because of this incident. Okay? So I think there was some misinformation in the paper today, and that needs to be known. She did not resign because of this incident. Nobody deserves to be thrown under the bus for what that custodian did, okay, besides him. So, you know, a lot of people are pointing a lot of fingers on social media. None of that's deserved. But anybody. Okay. Mr. Moore.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Jim Moore here. I usually don't go around and deal with this too often. I have a young son. He's not young anymore, but when he was, and I was in the Air Force, we get ready to leave one base and go somewhere else. Of course, most military people know that when you go from the train station, you usually end up staying in quarters on base, like a motel. And our youngest son, can you hear me now? Okay. My son was around 10 years old. Today he still feels what happened in that motel type place on base. He was sexually assaulted by an Air Force person who was there in the same building, who was either leaving or coming in. Today my son still has that situation. He'll never forget it, and his mother and I will never forget it. I've been a youth pastor around this country. I had teenagers, I had girls, I had boys, and I always made sure that no one touched them unless it was their parents picking them up. I do not like what happens in our society. And the way I feel right now, if I could find out what that guy's name was that sexually assaulted my son, I'd go for him. Because my wife gave him birth. He was my son. And I do not like what happens to young people. We have 5 little girls at our church where I'm also involved. Their parents don't even care for them. The grandparent has custody. And when I look at that, and I've seen what happened here, anything I can do to stop these sexual perverts, I am going to do. If I could find that guy that did that to my son, I would whoop him until he couldn't do anything else. Because when we start allowing this to happen, it takes away their life. Most of the time, forever. And it really hurts the parents, and I know that. It hurt me. It hurts my wife. My youngest son has a partner now. My oldest son's the only one we have grandkids from. And it's just a terrible thing in our society. Something that we have to stop.
All right, Mr. Moore.
Can I make one comment? I think Dr. Orr talked about earlier, there's going to be counseling available for all the kids out here at Biomeda, either affected or not affected by this particular situation. Is that a correct statement?
Any other comments? All right, that concludes the meeting. We will adjourn.
Actually, I've got one.
We're adjourned.
I don't care. I don't care. I got one question. That's it. Yes, sir. All right, since the lunch monitor situation has come to light, how soon are y'all gonna fix that so that we have people watching our kids back like we're supposed to?
Or do we need parent volunteers for lunch? Because if we need that, if we need parent volunteers, that's something, I'm a working mom. If I need to take PTO and come watch a lunchroom, I don't mind.
So if I can address the lunch monitor issue. So this past year, we lost $1.7 million. And so that's the budget issue that was mentioned. And so we had to look at staff around the schools, around the district. And so that's when we started looking at positions to cut. And so the conversation we had with our administrators is that, for example, at our high school and middle school, all of our administrators did lunch duty. And so we asked our elementary principals and assistant principals to also do that. At some schools, they were not doing that. And that's where you found at this particular school, we had custodians and a paraprofessional in here.
Yes.
To answer your question, sir, if we can continue to increase the funding, which we've worked on today, this year, which was when we asked you all to complete those those SNAP forms so that we can increase our funding so we can supply the schools with the necessary staff. So we're looking into bringing those lunch monitors back, as well as other important positions that we may need in the school district. So that's what we're working on, but that's the reason why, because from the very beginning of the school district, when we started, we had lunch monitors. But when we looked at positions that would not directly impact the instructional setting, the academic setting, we had to look at those particular positions like that. Those lunch monitors as well as clerical staff members.
Okay. Well, obviously, we need some more lunch monitors.
Yes, sir.
Even if you have to ask parents or volunteers, you can run background checks on the parents that volunteer for it and everything. I don't see what the problem is.
And we do accept. We have a volunteer program, and we have the system for parents.
Did any of y'all say, hey, we got a shortage of lunch monitors here, and to keep the kids safe, we're going to need some extra bodies?
That's duly noted.
Yeah, this shouldn't be just for this school. It should be for the entire district. We need to step it up for our kids.
Another free check to me is worth budget, however much that costs to make sure nobody else is through the cracks. You can't forget about other parties. I'm not saying it's all the time, but there might be one more out there. And if there is, it is worth whatever it costs. And we're going to give that inflation. But like safety, I would take a pay cut to make sure children, I want children, I would take a pay cut to make them safe. I would never say, let's take away their monitors. Let's take away camera storage so that I can touch on them. No. Their safety is first, and I believe the majority of y'all do believe that. So act on it. Not that hard.
We're gonna work on this.
I have one thing. Do I have a new timeline on releasing information going forward? I understand you're going lessons here, but is there already a new guideline in place that says when something happens after 10 days, 20 days, is there anything?
What I've instructed our staff to do, as soon as we have the initial incident, we're going to notify the parents that we had the initial incident, the investigation is ongoing, and that as more information develops, we will notify. What we also changed, because I realized more parents said that they did not receive the email, we now, and I hope most of you received it, yesterday, I believe, we received a phone call and a text saying we received we just sent out an important email. And then we received some feedback from parents saying that they didn't receive the email. And so we took those email addresses so that we could provide the email addresses. But honestly, we did not, the amount of information that we were given in that first email, we did not want to send that by a text message or a phone call. And that's the reason why you got the email. But we understand you need notification that that important email was sent, so we made that change as well.
But I know we've addressed the timeline. It's really important as a school district that we put out that we do not allow this crap in our school. We will blast you in the news. We will be put in the paper. We're not going to come into our school and touch our kids, and we're going to not tell anybody for 45 days. That opens it up to, oh, I can go in there and do crap, and they're not even going to tell nobody. We cannot open the door for people to come in here and think that they're safe. So we need to put out, you can't come to you can't come to JNPSD and get on our staff and mess with our kids and get off with it being swept away. You know what I mean? Not that that's what happened, it obviously came out, but we really need to promote that. Like, no. You see something, you say something. That's check that man.
As I said before, as soon as the district was aware of the situation, the man was removed.
Yeah, no, and I
Never
understand
came
that.
back, terminated, and that's how all terminations work. We wait till the next school board meeting, and that's just standard protocol as far as on leave with pay until we can vote. That's just how it works. So, we're officially adjourned. We're here, and if anybody wants to stay, I'll stay. I'll talk to anybody that wants to talk to me. And we're officially adjourned from the meeting.